Hey guys, so first video of this league, and I just wanted to make a video and talk about my league experience, what I started with, which was MINION Instability with the big Summon Raging Spirits, but now today I remade this build into Bodyswap that consumes Spectres. So I'm gonna talk about my league start essentially, but this is not a build guide video. I'm gonna spend like 2 more days tweaking the new Bodyswap build, but initial idea was to copy my own build from Crucible League, and it was my all-time favorite MINION Instability build using Summon Raging Spirit that back then had Diamond Shrine and Massive Shrine. So they always crit, but the limit was 3 Raging Spirits. Now there is a Summon Raging Spirit Transfiguration gem which allows you to have like a bigger Raging Spirits. They are like visually bigger. They have more maximum life. I had something like 55,000 maximum health Raging Spirits, but maximum limit of 6. And the worst part, cast time is longer. Instead of 0.5 cast time, it's 0.8 second cast time. So it's a lot clunkier, and that's the main reason why I did not want to continue playing it, because it just felt a lot clunkier. I tried to get cast speed, but I don't know, it just did not feel good. It didn't really have much damage. It's like 610,000 average hit damage with the Unleash and with the Infernal Legion, but this is like level 19 gem, no quality on anything. This is like a very basic league experience. So like level 19 gem. I did have to modify the custom modifiers because the path of building does not have a new skill gems yet, transfigured skill gems yet. So I had to simulate that. 90% more minion life, extra 40% critical strike multiplier from quality, and give them 100% crit base critical strike chance, because they always crit. Now, I did experiment a lot with Spectres, and this league is just so wonderful for Spectres. There are so many interesting Spectres. The problem is that I lost so many Spectres accidentally, and I just realized that I cannot really weapon swap because I will lose Spectre and I would have to get a new corpse for that Spectre. So I cannot really show the gem itself now. This build also does not even have exposure Raging Spirits. So it's missing a lot of things. The damage would be much higher. You probably would reach like 2 million average hit damage on a better optimized build. But during Crucible League I had like 6 million average hit damage per Raging Spirit, but the limit was 3, and it was so smooth, so much better than this now. However, when I try to check that build from Crucible, now it only has around 4 million average hit damage only. So something changed, and the SRS base life got nerfed or something else. Maybe I did use some alk. Oh, I probably used some alk quality. It most likely was something with the AL quality. It has way less damage now. It lost like 2 million average hit damage from before because of AL quality changes. So yeah, AL quality changes nerfed a lot of builds, but I think there are still ways to boost the damage a lot, especially with all sorts of charms. Tinctures, maybe tinctures are only for weapon attacks. Charms are amazing. There are so many good things for charms now. I'm gonna include path of building import code with my setup for Raging Spirit. Previously I was using contrast regulator, but I was also using the helmet that limited SRS to 5, or should I say not limited, but had 75% reduced Raging Spirit amount. This one. But if you use this with the new Raging Spirit gem, you're only gonna have 1 Raging Spirit because it's 75% reduced amount of Raging Spirits. So it's not 20 maximum, but it's 6 maximum and then 75% reduced. When I started this build, I didn't think about those small things, but every day I discovered like 2 or 3 other extra drawbacks, and overall the build just fell apart and I just lost interest. But with, I used this helmet because it gave melee splash for free essentially, and that meant that some Raging Spirits would just immediately explode as soon as they hit enemy back, and that added extra smoothness. And now it's just missing melee splash, missing the Mark of the Red Covenant, which gave a lot of damage for Infernal Legion as well, although you didn't even need to use Infernal Legion back then because, like I said, with Contrast Regulator, Shield and Necromantic Aegis, we just hit enemies and we immediately die because we always crit, and when we crit we lose HP. And I didn't even need to use Tabukai Amulet, and now I had to use Tabukai Amulet, couldn't use this one. So it just had to rely on Infernal Legion and Tabukai, and Infernal Legion doesn't do a lot of damage. It doesn't scale with MINION Life, it just does a fixed amount of damage. So anyway, that out of the way, now I reworked this build into using new Transfigure gem for Bodyswap, which consumes a minion. And I'm using Spectres, and this idea, suggestion, credits to Grimslade once again for interesting mechanics. He was talking about zombies with the Okuna's will. Zombies also count as corpses, and you can even use falling zombies to detonate them mid-air. I believe. I haven't actually tried it myself. A more interesting thing was to do with the new Spectres that revive themselves. So I have Spectres Dark Marionettes. Look at this. When I detonate them, they just revive themselves. I believe it takes 1 second for them to revive. So you can just detonate them and don't worry about clicking anything else. The problem with this is that they spawn at your location. So we still need to move towards enemies. So it's a bit clunky. You move towards enemies, you have to convocate your Spectres if they don't rush ahead, and sometimes when there is a big enemy pack you want to get into the middle of the big enemy pack to detonate, but we just run next to fast enemies and stop. It's feeling clunky. I am currently using like a 5-link setup because I'm using increased AoE. With Conk effect, my AoE is just way too small for clearing. I'm still trying to increase my AoE, and I don't really have quality on stuff, and I have like very cheap items. My amulet is just +1 and that's it. +1 with life, nothing else. Wand is also not really ideal anymore. Previously I wanted to use Trigger Wand for automating offering, which I don't need right now. Although it does have some use. This is Necromancer, so the more corpses I consume, the more attack and cast speed I get. But that's not really very useful for this. And at maximum I can only have 4 casts per second, because if I have more, then the Spectres will not have enough time to revive themselves. So back to this gem, Bodyswap of Sacrifice. Essentially, instead of consuming a corpse, it consumes a minion. So there are ways to do this without Spectres, like with zombies, with golems, and auto resummoning golems as an elementalist. But Necromancer also has this. Minions have 20% more maximum life. So that's a big multiplier. But I decided to use Spectres, and if you're using zombies, you're gonna want to use Okuna's Will gloves, because they give up to 100% increased zombie life only for zombies. And zombies count as corpses, so we don't need corpses to be summoned. And by the way, for zombies you can like use Arcanist brand and just summon zombies quickly. But I actually decided to go with the Spectres because, like I said, it's more interesting to me. Spectres, consuming Spectres, reviving Spectres, it just sounds more interesting, more unique. And also using this shield, which most of the time is pretty much useless. But now it is actually useful because Bodyswap of Sacrifice scales of Minion Life. So the quality is also important. Quality at 20%, it adds extra 20% of Minion Life as damage. And by default, you're already consuming 24%, so the quality is 28%. Ashes is also kind of cheap. You can also use Replicas, Dragon's Fangs, Flight, but both of those options are like 8 divines, 10 divines cheapest. So it's doing 28% of minion life as fire damage. Now in addition, these dark, do I have an extra copy of them? I do not have anymore. Dark marionettes, in addition they also do, when they die, they do an extra 5% of their life as physical, lighting and fire. So they add an extra 15% damage to the explosion. Well, it's not a single hit, but you explode with the Bodyswap, that is your hit, and then these minions, when they die, they also explode, that is their hit. Now in addition, a perfect dark marionette also scorches enemies, so you can add scorch as well to that. So the damage is actually scaling really well on Bodyswap. This is also simulated. It does, like I said, it doesn't have new transfigure gems, so you have to simulate pretty much everything. Also, there are no Spectres currently. I don't know how much life they would normally have. I think I calculated with like 320,000 health, which should be more. So you essentially convert that into flat damage and just add it into custom modifiers. So this in practice would be higher. And then for the Bodyswap, you also need to select corpse explosion and select corpse life 1, because otherwise it's gonna like try to calculate the proper corpse life based on the monster level, I think, although I'm not sure, it's not really changing all that much. And from experience I can tell, yeah, that damage is gonna be higher than this. And this is, I believe, yeah, on a 5-link only. So this is 3.7 million average hit damage, and that's not even maximized yet, not optimized yet. This is like level 20 Bodyswap only with a very cheap amulet. Like I said, Ashes or Replica Dragon's Fangs Flight for all Spectres gem would be a lot more damage. I don't have like Anointment. It's still missing so many things. It does not include the exposure at least. On the gloves I can get exposure. It doesn't really include all the good charms yet. It doesn't have Scorch yet. So it's missing a lot of things, but Then again, this build is also not very tanky, but I do have Viridis Veil, I have a hexproof against curses, and enemy hits are unlucky, so it does add some mitigation as well. I could also run like Jinx Juju, but I do need to reach level 25 Spectres. I did need Empower, and you can actually get Empower from doing Uber Labs, just run Uber Labs. One of the options from the font is gonna be get like exceptional gems. So you just put in any red gem and you just guarantee to get an Empower, because there's no other red exceptional gem. If you want Enlighten, just put in blue gem, and once you get that, you're gonna guaranteed to get Enlighten. Without Empower, I could not reach level 25 Spectres unless I got level 21 gem. Actually, I could just corrupt it. Oh, wait. See, that's the problem. Now, these Spectres revive themselves, but if I were to remove gem right now, I would lose them. But if I do that in town, actually I'm gonna show you. In town, if you remove the gem, the next time you go into any zone that can have corpses spawned, you will spawn those corpses and you will be able to resummon your Spectres. Actually, it's probably not even gonna resummon my Spectres. Okay, it didn't really unsummon these. I think if you don't place the gem back, it will unsummon. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Remove the Spectre gem. Now I don't have Spectres. Go back to hideout. The Dark Marionette corpses are not expensive, and I messed up. I don't know why that happens. Okay, I'm gonna have to buy. See, this is the problem. I was testing a bunch of Spectres and I lost so many good Spectres this way. We added this safety measurement that you would not destroy those corpses accidentally, but you still can destroy them. What if I go to, I don't know, Menagerie? Nope. Okay, great. Okay, now I need to buy 4 Dark Marionettes again, so that's like 20 years down the drain, another 20 years. So I've been testing a lot of things, and that's why I don't have much currency left, because I keep losing currency by testing things, and now I have to buy Dark Marionettes. You don't need 4 perfect Dark Marionettes. I'm not sure if the health changes, but the perfect one applies Scourge, so you just need one that would apply Scourge. I'm also going to include Path of Building import code in the description for the current setup. I think for the current setup for level 95, but with the current items. You would want to improve the items, of course. Tomorrow I'll kind of be finalizing this build. Maybe one more day after that I will try to farm a bit more maps, and then figure craft next build. There are so many builds that I want to test this league. I wanted to also experiment with pure Spectres build, so I was actually prepared the Brave Lord helmet. I don't know. I would have to restart a new build. Didn't really want to refund this build into pure Spectres build, because that would require more refunding, and I think it would be also more expensive. Scaling Minion Life is usually cheaper than scaling Minion Damage. And some of the special Spectres can be expensive, like this Perfect Guardian Turtle is like 40 here something plus, because it gives determination. There are some other ones that give like Onslaught to nearby allies, or Pain Artists give nearby allies have 30% critical strike multiplier. I'm not sure what the perfect one, but there are some like really nice Spectres from those special corpses, and I already want them to go into the core game, because it's such a nice addition. The minion builds must be loving this league, because there's so many things you can experiment with. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.